Hello and welcome everyone to a brand new type of video for us here at Silent Shed Studios that we are very passionate about, and that is tips and tricks. Now, what better way to start off this series than to talk about a game we've all been absolutely playing into the ground recently, Naruto Shinobi Strikers. In this video, we'll be talking about the top 10 beginner tips and tricks that we found most useful here at Silent Shed. However, because this game can get very technical, seeing as it is a fighting game, we'll more than likely be creating an advanced tips and tricks video in the future for you veteran players, so keep a lookout for that when it launches later this month. And if you do find this information useful and you want to support what we do here, all that we ask is you hit that subscribe button. Now without further ado, let's jump into it. Starting off with tip number 1, we have the VR Ninjutsu Arena. Now this is essentially the game's story mode, but it really plays out like repetitive missions, but you definitely do not want to be skipping this and jumping right into the multiplayer, as this is basically the easiest way to learn the game. Alongside learning the game, you'll also be rewarded scrolls. There's different scroll rarities. The best you can possibly receive is esoteric, that it will give you the highest grade rewards, but in the VR missions you can actually get Kakashi scrolls, which will give you the designated reward items from the missions. For tip number 2, we have the VR Master List. Now this is where you'll be selecting a VR Master to train under, where you will unlock cosmetic item, scrolls, and new ninjutsu. On the VR Master List, you can press Reward Info, and you can see that on the second unlock, for most people you can unlock a new Master. You want to do this for as many people as possible, as fast as possible, to unlock new Masters and potentially unlock new Jutsu. Tip number 3 is pretty simple, but a lot of people actually don't figure it out very early, but it's the fact that you can buy quality scrolls from the Ninja Tool Shop under the consumable section. They cost about 8,000 Ryo, but they are very good to get early because you can get great cosmetic items from them. Inside the consumable shop, you can also buy character remakes for 10,000 Ryo, which is pretty useful if you want to change up the way your character looks. Tip number 4 is generally something people don't figure out right away either, but it's the fact that your costume and accessories actually have skills attached to them. Each skill varies from making you do more damage the lower health you are, to boosting your movement speed or boosting your max health. The list goes on. You'll want to pick outfit skills that synergize with the class you play and your play style. So, for example, an attack class might want outfit skills that boost their ninjutsu damage or make their enemies fall slower in order to pull off more combos, while a defense class might want increased max health with shortened ninjutsu cooldowns, and a healer class will most likely prefer increased healing ninjutsu effects. All of these abilities and more are available with skills from costumes. Though you may not look the way you want, you'll find that choosing the correct combination of skills for your outfit will benefit you greatly. Tip number 5 is how to spawn NPCs in town to get more VR missions, and this one can get pretty confusing. It even stumped us here at Silent Shed for a while, but it's actually quite simple. When you first start the game, you'll find an NPC, probably Rock Lee, will give you a VR mission. Do that mission, go back, and he'll give you another VR mission, after which you'll start spawning more and more NPCs the more VR missions you complete. But you'll eventually run into a roadblock where you can't find a new NPC or there's not another mission for you to complete. And it's pretty simple. All you have to do is go into another VR mission or go into a multiplayer game and it'll reset. The next time you get out, you'll spawn another NPC. You may run into a roadblock as well where you spawn Shino or Ino, and neither of them give you VR missions. But there's actually cool little Easter eggs here. If you talk to Shino 64 times, he'll give you a cosmetic item. And if you talk to Ino wearing Ino's outfit as a female character or Sai's outfit as a male character, she'll actually give you a title. I thought that was a pretty nice touch. Now we're going to be getting more into the combat or multiplayer oriented tips, starting off with tip number 6, PC players should rebind their ninjutsu. The basic key bindings are 1, 2, and 3 on PC, and those are just not very good key bindings. I personally rebound my keys to E and R, as I found that the smoothest transition for my finger in the middle of combat, and I recommend it for anybody else, but you should really find whatever works best for you. The alternative is that you can also buy a controller for your PC, and I highly recommend it. This tip isn't really useful for anybody already on console, but hey, I'm thinking about you. Tip number 7 is going to be managing the lock-on button when there are multiple enemies in front of you. The lock-on mechanic in this game is one of the most irritating features right now. It feels like a buggy mess because it's not true lock-on. You can lock onto a single target, but whenever something on your screen moves too much, or if you even touch your analog stick or your mouse, it'll change targets instantly if given the opportunity. This is pretty unfortunate because the lock-on mechanic is one of the most important mechanics in the game. Locking onto the enemy who just teleported away helps you dash towards them to continue the fight. To avoid having the lock-on switch targets, you're going to need to toggle your lock-on. Whenever you're ready to attack with a full combo, lock onto your enemy. Do your combo, and when you're finished or they move away, rather than let your lock-on drag your screen, toggle it off. Recollect yourself and reapply your lock-on and dash towards them. This way your lock-on won't freak out while moving and switch between targets. Tip number 8 is pretty simple, but you should block, counter, and guard break as much as possible. Weaving in those blocks and then countering those hits is very important to getting the upper hand in the middle of combat. Don't think you're one of those people who can just constantly attack without blocking and get away with it. In this game, there are too many overpowered moves right now that will just kill you in seconds if you don't block them. On top of that, you have guard breaks, which was also one of the most important mechanics in this game. If someone is blocking, you could just keep attacking with your fists and eventually enemy's guard will break, but you risk getting countered. Finding the alternative ways to break guards with ninjutsu or other means becomes critical in taking control of the battlefield. Some ninjutsu, like Snake Thrust or Paralyze, will guard break the enemies instantly and give you the upper hand. Something else I wanted to add is taking advantage of your class. As an attacker or ranged class, you'll find ways to guard break into crazy amount of combos, but a defense class has the benefit of their heavy attack making them invulnerable to flinching, while healers have their heavy attack actually just guard break enemies in one hit, and so they can focus on having their healing ninjutsu. Taking advantage in the way each class can be played will give you the easy win. Tip number 9 is something you either can or can't do, and that is cooperating with your team or already having a pre-made one. To be blunt, you shouldn't be playing this game if you don't have a pre-made team of friends to play with, otherwise you're not really going to be having the best of time. Most of the online matches you play, the enemies will be pre-made, using their communication to obliterate the competition. Again, either you have friends to play with or you don't. However, there are steps to take to make playing with randoms a little easier. Some people don't know this, but there is a voice chat in-game. It's automatically turned off by default, so you won't hear anyone until you turn it on. Turning this on can help you communicate with your team to coordinate a game plan and go for the win. Though keep in mind, it's still rare to find anybody who's actually turned on voice chat. For something a little extra to go along with this tip, you should take the initiative yourself. Look at what your team comp is, see which class each person is playing, and fill in the gap for your team. As well as don't go running off by yourself. Stick together and help each other survive. This may make playing online by yourself a little smoother. As a final tip for tip number 10, you should be playing the Ninja World League as much as possible. Each season only lasts 2 weeks long, so you only have those 2 weeks to rank up as much as possible. You're going to want to play and rank up as quick as possible because each season offers unique rewards and a lot of scrolls for you to get cosmetic items from. And on top of playing the Ninja World League and doing extra VR missions, you have a random chance to unlock new ninjutsu from completing those missions. These ninjutsu are sometimes very sought after as they are extremely strong and combo well, so always keep an eye out for that because they are very beneficial to your account. And with that, those are the top 10 beginner tips and tricks that Silent Shed found most useful. If you liked what you saw or found this video informational, think about leaving a like or subscribe. It's really going to go a long way for us. And if you didn't enjoy this video, well, then I guess you're just going to have to comment and tell us what we did wrong now, won't you? Thanks for watching. We'll see you later.